Hello everyone. I'm going to go over the second section of the requirements for assignment 4. Actually, the third section, the last section. The first section, of course, are the questions that you'll be doing. The second section is that you'll be creating a database with only 2 tables using Microsoft SQL Server and Transact SQL. That was covered in other videos, and in fact, here are the videos that you can use to perform and successfully complete the second section of assignment 4. The third section deals with, again, we're using 2 DBMSs, so the previous one was Microsoft SQL Server. This last section is back to MySQL or MySQL. And we're going to be talking about doing views, store procedures, and transactions. And with that said, what I'd like to do right now is draw your attention to the documentation that I provided for you under the notes section of the class website. So if you go to the notes section, and I'll make this a little bit larger for you. Actually, down here. Let me back up just a tad. And right here. So I provided these documents because I'm only going to go over the solutions to assignment 4. But if you want further in-depth knowledge of what views are, how to use them with MySQL and SQL Server, I provided that documentation under the class website, course website, I should say, under notes. And you could see the forums there for using views, using store procedures, using transactions. And I even provided for you a template here that you can download, an SQL template for transactions, views, store procedures, what we call stored procs. And they're in 2 different formats. They're in MySQL and SQL Server. And so you could see them here. Just download this document, and you can see the templates that I created for you for both MySQL and Microsoft SQL Server. They're a little bit different in their syntax. All right, gang, let's begin with the requirements here of assignment 4. First thing you're supposed to do is download the finance.sql file, which again is in the assignments section of our course website. You download finance.sql, then you upload it to your DB directory inside of the MySQL server, just like we've done before in class. So all you do is download the file, and let me just pull that up real quick as well too here. Go to assignments, and under assignments you'll see the SQL file. It's just called finance.sql right here. Okay? And I'm going to pull that off to the side. Again, once you've done that, make sure you upload it to your DB directory so you can invoke these commands. Now, again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on what views are, what store procedures are. I'll go a little bit over it, and I have notes in the SQL that I'm going to show you, as well as transactions. We'll cover more in class, but this is really just to give you an overview of the actual solutions, as well as a bit of a perfunctory overview of the syntax as well. So, note all dollar amounts must be formatted to 2 decimal places, including a $sign. All phone numbers and zip codes must include proper hyphens. And again, remember, gang, as I stress in class, make sure your data goes in as cleanly and as succinctly as possible, as efficiently as possible. When you do your reporting, you can format it in any way you need to, but put the data in the most efficient manner possible. 5. Create SQL queries to generate the following reports and display their associated query result sets. Copy from the secure shell, PC, or terminal. Copy the result sets and then paste them in. When you open up Blackboard, just paste the solutions into the short answers there. Okay, and here I'm going to show the SQL and also what it looks like from the command line. All right, let's go into a bit of background here. Now, what I'm going to do is make this a little bit larger for you. Now, this is for SQL Server. That's the SQL Server portion of it. But what I want to go to right now is the MySQL portion. And our first question there is, create a view that only displays users' IDs, first and last names, phone numbers, and email addresses. Sort in ascending order by user last name. Name it v_user_info. Now, gang, the reason why I have you do that is because MySQL does not indicate if the view is a view. Unlike SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server, which will indicate that it's a view, MySQL will just show it as a table. So when you do show tables, it will show all your views, and you won't know if it's a view unless you name it as such. So the convention I tell my students is just name your views v_, and that way they'll all show alphabetically when you do show tables. And I'll show that in a second here. All right. And I'm going to go over this rather briefly here because there's got lots to cover here. But why use views? Well, they have various benefits. Again, please see the files that are provided under notes for a bit more, a bit further understanding of why we use views and their benefits. But primarily for simplicity, security. You could also use them similar to using aliases for column name simplification or clarification if the column names are too long in the base table. What we call the base table is the actual table, and a view is essentially a virtual table. And you can have a view based upon a join. So a view is really a virtual table from one table. It's a virtual table of one table, or it can be a virtual table of a set of tables based upon a join. It can also be used as a building block as well for multi-level queries. Now, what I want to show here, gang, is first of all, when you're doing a view, the first thing to focus on, because we're not doing updatable views, we're just using views that are read-only. So we're not modifying, we're not doing views that can modify data. The first thing to realize is you always get the SQL statement first. Forget about the actual syntax of the view, because that's very simple. Once you do the actual answer for the SQL, the select statement, all you got to do is wrap that select statement in a drop view, create view, and then put the select statement in there, as you can see that I did here. So the syntax for that in MySQL is drop view, much like a table, drop view if exists, and then the name of that view, which we said was going to be v_user_info. Similar, you want to create a view, and you're going to do this, create view, name of the view, and then use the as keyword. Well, the solution here is create a view that only displays users' IDs, first and last names, phone numbers, and email addresses, sort in ascending order by user last name. And this is the solution for that right here, the select statement. Now, in reality, it's this total statement here. And then simply to use the view, all you have to do, just like it's a regular table, it's a virtual table, you just do a select all from that view's name. So let's create this. First of all, I have my command prompt open here, and I'm going to do show tables, just so you could see the tables we're using. Okay, and also I'm going to show you, just as a background, the tables that we're actually using in this particular database at this point. It's one of the it's what we actually created in an assignment. We're using these set of tables and then associated data. So with that said, you can pause that and take a look at it, refresh your memory. But I preloaded my database with those tables and data. And so when I show the tables, those are the tables right there. And now what we're going to do is create that view. First, I'm going to drop the view if it exists, and that way I can start from scratch. Create the view, like so. And you'll see that there's nothing that displays. What you're doing is you're storing that command. Really, it's a command for the select statement, because that's all a view is. You're saying that this statement right here, select all from view, is really a compilation of this entire select statement. And that's the beauty of using views. You can make really complicated SQL statements very simple when using a view. By the way, it also has a double-sided factor to that. It means that a simple invocation of a view can take up quite a bit of processing. So make sure that you know what that view does. It can be very complicated, actually joining thousands or millions of records in many various tables. So a simple select statement like this could really bog down your system if you're not careful of how you're using that view and how the view was constructed. So I created a view, and now I want to make a call on that view. I'm going to do this, and it displays it. Now, gang, realize that this view is based upon this table user. Okay? Now, when I do a select on user, notice that the phone number is not formatted. If I wanted to, I could format addresses as well too, etc. Now, there's something else that I want you to notice here. Notice that we only gave permission to a user for this view, not the base table. The user doesn't know anything about the user table. They only know about v_user_info, and to them, it looks like a table. Notice that I could also do this. Instead of select all from view, I could do select user_phone. Now, the reason why that works is because in this view, we allowed the user to have access to the user ID, the first name, last name, phone, and email. And by the way, every time they do that, notice that whatever we have pre-formatted in that view will also show up formatted here. Similarly, if I did the same thing from user, the actual base table, notice it is not formatted. However, notice that when I do a select all from user, I have access to all the data in that table. Where if I tried to do the same thing from the view, for instance, the user street is not permitted in the view. So if I do select user street from v_user_info, it doesn't recognize it. If I make the same command from the user table, the base table, it sees it. So again, it provides a layer of security as well too when you're using a view. Okay, so going back here, the answer for that is really here. Create the view, do the select statement, and then once you create the view, use the view. Okay, now let's go to the second one. Create a view that only displays institutions' names, streets, cities, state, zip, codes, phone numbers, and URL addresses. Display all addresses info under one header. Sort in ascending order by institution name. Name it v_institution_info. And again, you'll see in a minute why I'm having you use the naming convention that I chose, v_, at least for my classes I choose that. Other people do different naming conventions, but I like to use it v_. You'll see that in a second why I use that convention. All right, let's go to that solution here. So again, here is the this is the actual statement here, and I put in comments here, see below for answers. This is not in one header. So the solution was to put it in one header. Notice in B, it puts underline here in one header. Now, we can do that. You want to break it down. So again, always do the select statement first. Okay? Make sure the select statement first, and then you could just wrap a drop view, create view around it. So here's the select statement. Notice it's not in one header. And again, the criteria indicated that you want display all address info under one header. So in other words, the institution street, city, state, and zip should be in one header. Now we can easily do that by doing this. And again, I indicate that this is what's required for the assignment. Look at the select statement first, and notice now it is under one header, and that is for address. It includes street, city, state, and zip. Okay? So how do we do that? Always go to the select statement first. There's a name. This is how we concat and make our address for street, city, state. Notice zip code has the substring. Notice the phone has a substring for the area code, the prefix, and the 3-digit prefix and the 4-digit suffix. Email and URL from institution, order by institution, name ascending. So that is your answer right there. Notice how it looks. Now let's make it a little bit. It's not terribly complicated, but it's a bit more complex than the previous answer. Let's drop the view, create the view, and then we created our view. Forgot to copy it. Drop. Copy that view. Notice it's in memory now, and I can do this. Just anytime I want to, just invoke this simple command, select all from v_institution info, and then that will run that command. Now, I got a little note here that I was going to show in class, but you also want to clean up your views if you're not using them. So if you want to drop it from memory, again though, realize you're not storing any new data. You're just storing a command. So it's not taking a whole lot of memory, but it just cleans up your your database there so that the view is not, it doesn't take up a lot of space, but it can make it a bit more complex. Let me show you. So going back here, now let me show you the command show tables. As I mentioned to you, we're seeing our views here. Okay? If we didn't name that view with v_, we wouldn't be able to see it. Now, there's other ways we could actually use the information_schema database to look at that. But notice what happens when I invoke the command show views. There actually is no MySQL command indicating show views. It says there's an error in the syntax. So it's really, a view, again, is a virtual table, but if you don't name them appropriately, you're not going to know what a view is from another view. Okay? And also, when you're dropping a view, even though it's you're showing tables, it's still a view. So you can't drop table v_institution_info. What you have to do is you have to drop the view. But if you want to show the view, display the view, you have to show tables. It's a bit odd. I'm not sure why MySQL does that. They may change it in the future, but you could always get it by viewing the database information_schema as well too. Okay, so that's the answer for that. Again, here is your solution right there. You could take a look at that. Pause the video and take a look at that. All right, gang, let's go to the next one here. Number 3, create a view that only displays unique category types used, in other words, i.e. in transactions, not all of the category types available. And again, name this view v_category types. So let's take a look at this. We're going to break this down in steps here. So you want to create a view that displays all unique category types used. In other words, they're used in the transactions, not all the category types available. All the category types available, if we wanted to see them, would be in describe category. Excuse me. It didn't copy that command here and kept in memory my previous command. So here's describe category. Now notice in describe category it's showing all of the views available because remember all the views we did were in an enum. If I remember right, there were 33 of them, I believe. I believe there are 33. Miscellaneous was only used one time. Anyway, you can count them, but there's a number of category types here. But we don't want to see all of them. We only want to see the unique category types that were used, and that means we have to go to the transaction table to see which ones were used. Now, also, this doesn't show all of the category types available either. When we do select a category type from category, watch what happens. And it's only showing 14. So in other words, in the category table, we only entered records for 14. But the number available is actually in this definition of the enum statement, which again I believe is 33. But it still doesn't answer our question. What we want to find out is the number of unique category types that were used in the transaction table. Now, first of all, I want to show something. Again, when you're using views, always do the SQL statement first. I'm going to show you what it would look like without unique category types. So I'm going to take category ID, or I should say the distinct keyword out, and I'm going to run this command right here. That's problematic when it always captures the last. It doesn't capture my last copy in the buffer. Anyway, there's that. Notice how housing, food, transportation are included more than one time. So what we want to alleviate that is the requirement was create a view that only displays unique category types used, and that means they're used in the transactions table, not all the category types available. So let me go back here, put the distinct keyword back. That's actually the solution right there. Select distinct cat ID, cat type from transaction natural, join category, because we want to find out where that was used. Copy that, paste it, and there's the unique category types used. Notice there's no duplication here of the category types. Okay, the actual answer with the create statement is create view v_category types as, and do that. So here it is. And by the way, I could run all of these commands at the same time. So I could do the drop view, create view, and then run from view right here. And there it ran it. And I could run this all day long. I could also do the show tables again. Okay? And then if I want to, I could go back and still, because it's stored in memory in the DBMS, actually in the database, I can also do this. Views, by the way, are stored with that particular database. So select all from v_user_info. I could run that again all day long. Or if I wanted to, because this view allows the user to show the category ID and category type, I can also do a select all from category types and only do this. Cat type. And see that. But I can't do anything else, like say if we had a category notes, right, in the category table. Can't see that because that's in the base table, not in the view itself. Okay, so gang, here's your answer right there. All right, I'll come back with another video and we'll finish up here with D, E, and F, doing store procedures and another view, and also discussing transactions. All right, gang, be back in a minute.